So, what if an alleged email exchange between two very public figures, Deepak Chopra and Jeffrey Epstein, wasn't just a private chat? What if it was actually the key to unlocking a massive conspiracy? We're about to dive into how one YouTuber takes just a few lines of text and builds an absolutely astonishing case against the entire New Age movement. The whole theory really hinges on statements just like this one, allegedly from Chopra. Now, to the analyst we're following, this isn't just some casual, maybe off-color language. He argues it's actually a coded message, and it's pointing to something much, much darker. All right, so first things first, let's break down the claims and, more importantly, the person who's actually making them. Our guide on this journey is a YouTuber by the name of Anton Wisbiski. And get this, he claims he's not just some casual observer. He says he's a former insider with over a decade of experience in the New Age world. And his goal? To expose what he explicitly calls a connected and evil network. According to Wisbiski, the whole exchange kicks off with Chopra allegedly boasting to Epstein that his book is starting to replace the Bible in hotels. That's a pretty bold claim, right? And it really sets the stage for everything that comes next. Now, this is where Wisbiski's analysis gets really, really interesting. He argues that all the spiritual language being thrown around, well, it's not what it seems. He thinks it's actually a form of code. Wisbiski sees this very sentence as the central clue, the smoking gun. For him, the reference to chakras isn't just some spiritual jargon. No, he sees it as a direct, coded confession about Chopra's real state of mind. Okay, so to follow his logic, we need a quick primer. A chakra, which comes from philosophies like Hinduism, is basically an energy center in the body. You can kind of think of them as different levels, and each one is tied to a specific function or state of consciousness. And this slide really shows the duality at the very heart of Wisbiski's claim. You've got the seventh chakra, the crown, which is all about enlightenment and cosmic consciousness. But then you have the first chakra, the base, which is tied to primal, earthly urges, what Wisbiski bluntly calls the private part center. So for Wisbiski, the bottom line is this. He believes all that spiritual language is just a cover. He translates the email to mean that Chopra is basically saying he's too preoccupied with lustful thoughts to have a more elevated discussion right then. So, how does this one interpretation of an email just explode into this giant theory of organized influence? This is exactly where the claim goes from being personal to being global. This single phrase, allegedly from Epstein, the woo-woo army, becomes the absolute central pillar of Wisbiski's entire theory. He insists this isn't some kind of joke. He believes it's a literal reference to a coordinated network. Wisbiski then zooms right in on the ambiguity here. Who exactly are them all? He uses this question to launch into his theory that Epstein is referring to a very specific, known group of teachers, all of whom are part of the same army. From there, he lays out what he sees as a deliberate four-step process. First, he says powerful figures plant seeds by suggesting new gurus. Second, media gatekeepers give them a platform. Third, that person gets famous. And finally, they're recruited into this army of influencers, all pushing the exact same ideology. And all of this leads to Wisbiski's grand unified theory. This is the one that moves way beyond Chopra and Epstein and starts to target the entire New Age movement itself. His core belief, as he states it in his analysis, is that the New Age movement isn't a genuine spiritual path at all, but is in fact a demonic scheme. He claims these emails are evidence of a spiritual operation playing out on a global scale to, in his words, degrade our society. Now, to support a massive claim like that, he offers a few key arguments. First, that the New Age movement uses scientific language to create what he just calls pseudoscience. Second, he points to the film What the Bleep Do We Know and alleges its funder was a Satanist. Third, he argues its core theology is Luciferianism, which he defines as the belief that humans can become their own gods. And finally, he concludes that any real power these practices have comes not from truth, but from demonic forces. And this is absolutely crucial to his whole argument. Wisbiski doesn't present any of this as speculation. He grounds these extraordinary claims in his own credibility, stating they come directly from his personal experience as an insider and from witnessing what he describes as pure evilness. So what we've just walked through is one source's incredible journey, from decoding just a few lines in an email to constructing this vast theory about the spiritual state of the entire world. It's a powerful example of how interpretation can shape reality,
And it leaves us with a pretty important question. How does a single piece of evidence fuel such a sweeping worldview?